Every so often, YouTube fans are hit with the harsh reality that the creators they admired and trusted might have been cheating them all along, sometimes even scamming them out of their money or manipulating their emotions. Hey, my name is Mighty Elroy, and today we're going to dive into some of the biggest names on YouTube who built a massive following only to turn around and exploit their very viewers who helped them rise to fame. Starting off with SS Sniper Wolf. She's got a massive YouTube personality with millions of subscribers, and she's got the whole girl next door vibe going on.
It's me. Today we are watching some more TikTokies. If it was not filmed, no one would believe it.
But behind that, there's a darker side that a lot of people didn't see coming. Sniper Wolf didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Before she was the big name she is now, she had another YouTube channel called Sexy Sniper. Yeah, the name alone gives you an idea of what that was about.
Not for me. I have my cute booty shots on.
Her content back then was way different, more adult related, to put it softly. But as she transitioned to her current persona, she tried hard to bury that part of her history. Of course, nothing ever really disappears from the internet, and bits and pieces of that past still float around. But that isn't the only part of her past that has followed her around. There was this one time she claimed she was being stalked.
Following me, and guess what? That same car, that white fucking Toyota, and I know, and I'm gonna say this because I know you're watching me, and you shouldn't fucking follow me, you know?
But as people started digging into details, it became clear that a lot what she was saying didn't add up. Fans began to think she might have been exaggerating or even making up the whole thing just to get more views. But it doesn't stop there. Sniper Wolf has always been accused of some pretty nasty stuff, like making transphobic comments in one of her videos.
Excuse me, sir. There's a young man in here.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Okay, sorry, sir. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. How dare I not ask you what you identify as?
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay?
Both of you guys?
Ma'am, once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
Did you just assume my gender? How dare you? Do you see my pink purse? My pink purse is my gender.
Sir? Okay.
She made fun of a transgender person who got misgendered in a store, and it didn't go over well. The internet lit up with backlash, but instead of owning up to it, she just edited that part out of the video, like it never happened. It's kind of her thing. When something goes wrong, she either ignores it or tries to erase it, hoping people would just forget about it. Then there's the drama with other YouTubers. Girl Going Gamer was another big name back in the day, and Sniper Wolf went after her, accusing her of faking her gameplay. Whether that was true or not, Sniper Wolf's takedown video pretty much ended Girl Going Gamer's career. It was a ruthless move, and it showed just how far she was willing to go to get ahead. Amidst all these lies, Sniper Wolf was getting cooked online and in the comment sections of videos involving her. It's honestly depressing how she takes everything as a joke. This makes me sad because I used to adore her when I was a kid. It was sad to see Sniper Wolf go from being so loved to the biggest fall-offs, just like the case of Logan Paul, who has had his fair share of wrong decisions and lies. So Logan Paul isn't just a YouTuber, he's a full-blown entrepreneur. He's always looking for the next big thing, and a while back he decided to jump on the cryptocurrency bandwagon.
I think there needs to be a fresh take. And this project that I have is that fresh take. September 1st, cryptozoo.co. I'm going to tease it. That's all I'm going to say about it now.
The idea was that it was going to be this really cool NFT based game where you could buy and breed these weird hybrid animals. And it was going to be a fun way to make money on the side. Logan hyped up CryptoZoo like crazy. He talked about it on his podcast and YouTube videos and across social media, making it sound like the next big thing that you just had to get in on. His fans, trusting him as they always did, started pouring their money into it, buying these NFTs and the Zoo tokens needed to play the game. And it wasn't cheap either. People were spending thousands thinking they were getting in on the ground floor of something massive. But soon, things started going sideways because the thing is, the game never really worked, like at all. People who bought into it found out that the NFTs were basically useless and the game itself was a mess, full of bugs and half-baked features. As the problems piled up, it became clear that CryptoZoo wasn't the groundbreaking project it was supposed to be. Instead, it was looking more and more like a scam. And then things got even worse. It came out that Logan and some of the people involved in the project had allegedly crashed out huge sums of money, while the fans and investors were left holding the bag. Fans felt betrayed, and rightly so. They trusted Logan, and he used that trust to sell them on something that was at best a poorly executed idea, and at worst a calculated scam. The backlash was intense. People were furious, not just because they lost money, but because Logan Paul, a creator they had supported for years, was the one behind it. And yet, for a while, Logan didn't say much. He kind of dodged the issue, which only made things worse. It wasn't until CoffeeZilla, a YouTuber known for exposing scams, did a deep dive into the whole CryptoZoo thing, that Logan was really forced to address it.
This seems to be the biggest misconception, and it is disappointing that that part was glossed over so quickly. Made no money off CryptoZoo. Never sold the token. Jeff never sold the token.
CoffeeZilla's investigation was thorough, and it painted a pretty damning picture of the whole operation. Logan, feeling the heat, finally responded, but his initial reaction wasn't exactly an apology. He pushed back against some of CoffeeZilla's claims, but as the pressure mounted, he eventually admitted that things had gone wrong, and he promised to make it right.
CoffeeZilla is not a criminal. I called him, I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire.
In the end, Logan's reputation took a huge hit, even though he's still a big name on YouTube today. Adin Ross blew up almost overnight, going from a relatively unknown streamer to one of the biggest names on the platforms, like Twitch and Kick.
What's good, motherfuckers? Adin here.
But with that rapid rise to fame, Adin has found himself in the middle of several controversies, also particularly around his involvement in online gambling. Adin Ross began promoting online gambling platforms heavily, particularly after moving to a streaming platform, Kick, which is known for being more lenient with its content rules compared to Twitch.
Flip A7, just flip A7.
A 6. 10-10.
Ooh.
Good.
Oh my God, that is so good. Wow.
Massive.
God. Come on, bro.
He would spend hours on stream, gambling on sites like stake.com, often placing huge bets and sometimes winning big. For his audience, which includes a lot of younger viewers, this made gambling look like a fun, easy way to make money. But here's where things go crazy. Turns out, Adin wasn't using his own money to gamble. Instead, he was being paid by these gambling sites to promote their services. And he accidentally leaked that he was making around $1.6 million from these deals. This revelation hit hard because it exposed the fact that Adin's high-stake gambling streams weren't what they seemed. Fans who watched him risk huge sums of money, thinking that they were just like him, a guy trying his luck. But in reality, he was using funds provided by the gambling sites, making his streams more about pushing their service than actually gambling with his own money. This brought up serious ethical concerns, as it meant he was essentially encouraging his young audience to gamble without being upfront about the risks or his financial gains. People were pretty mad about it, with comments like, "What an absolute scumbag," and "People who promote gambling to kids are evil." Things took an even darker turn when Adin admitted during a live stream they had manipulated his own mother to get money for gambling after losing a staggering $4 million in one of his gambling sessions. Adin confessed that he lied to his mom to access more funds.
I just lost $4 million. My mom hid my ledger, and I manipulated my mom. I woke her up out of her sleep. I said, "Mommy, where's the ledger? Where'd you hide it? I owe people money, and if you don't send me and if I don't send the money, I'm gonna be in problems." She freaked out. I felt bad. I manipulated and lied to my own mom. It's not funny. It's sick.
This confession went viral, and the backlash was brutal. Adin's involvement in these gambling promotions has led to a widespread criticism from both fans and other streamers. Notably, he has several public spats with other big names in the streaming world, like Hassan Piker, who called out Adin for his irresponsible behavior, and for what he described as Aiden's crypto scams and gambling sponsorships. What's particularly concerning is the impact this might have on the younger audience. Many of Aiden's fans are teenagers or young adults who look up to him and might not fully understand the risks associated with gambling and may walk down a dangerous path. Another person who was walking down a dangerous path was Liver King, or as he's legally known, Brian Johnson. This guy exploded onto the fitness scene with a very specific brand, promoting what he called an ancestral lifestyle. The core of his message was pretty simple: follow the ways of our ancient ancestors by eating raw meat, avoiding modern toxins, and you'll end up as jacked as he is. He made a name for himself by claiming that his ripped physique was entirely natural by the results of following these ancient practices. But as you might expect, there was more to the story than he let on. Liver King built an empire on his ancestral lifestyle, selling supplements and diet plans that promised to help people achieve the same results that he had supposedly got naturally. His followers were eating up his message because he seemed to be living proof that his methods worked. I mean, the guy was shredded, and he constantly showcased his ripped body as evidence of what his lifestyle could do for you. But in 2022, things took a turn when it was revealed that everything wasn't quite as it seemed to be. It turns out the entire natural image was a shame. Liver King was actually using steroids, a fact that he had constantly denied over and over again. Leaked emails exposed that he was spending upwards of $11,000 a month on a cocktail of steroids to maintain his physique. This hit like a bombshell, completely undermining everything he had built his brand on. The man who had become a symbol of natural, primal living was actually relying on modern drugs to achieve his look. The fallout was beyond huge. His fans, and many of whom had spent money on supplements and diet plans, felt utterly betrayed. They had bought into his message, believing that they too could achieve a similar physique by following his advice. But now it was clear that the playing field was far from level. Liver King had been selling a fantasy, one that was impossible to achieve without the kind of chemical assistance he was secretly using. Liver King did eventually respond to the backlash. He posted a video where he admitted to using steroids and apologizing for misleading his followers. But for many, the damage was already done. His credibility took a massive hit, and it raised broader questions about the ethics of fitness influencers and often unrealistic standards they promote. Just like Hamza Ahmed, a guy who started out with the best intentions but kind of lost his way as he got more popular. Hamza first blew up on YouTube by focusing on self-improvement content, especially geared towards young men. He was all about helping guys get their lives together, whether it was improving their mental health, getting in shape, or becoming more disciplined. And you know what? For a while, he was really killing it. He wasn't just selling dreams, he was offering real, actionable advice that felt genuine. But then, as his following grew, things started to shift. Hamza introduced a paid community called The Adonis School, where people could supposedly get even more in-depth advice and personal coaching. At first, the cost was around $129 a month, which was already pretty steep. But as time went on, the price jumped up to a one-time fee of $500. Now, here's the thing. A lot of these folks who paid to join started feeling like they weren't getting really nothing new. The content was often just repacked versions of what Hamza had already shared for free on his channel. People were quick to call him out, saying it felt like he was turning his back on the very community that helped him rise to fame. And honestly, they had a point. Hamza had built his brand on the idea of helping people out of the goodness of his heart, not because he wanted to make a quick buck. But now, it seemed like money was his main focus. The backlash was crazy. Fans who had once seen him as a role model started to question his motives. Some even accused him of exploiting his followers, especially those who couldn't afford the high price of his paid content. What made things worse was how Hamza handled the criticism. Instead of really addressing the concerns, he just kind of brushed them off, saying that the paid content was necessary to keep his work sustainable. But for a lot of people, the explanation didn't fly. It felt like he was trying to justify what looked like a cash grab, rather than acknowledging that maybe he lost touch with the core values that made him popular in the first place. Then there was another issue that chipped away his credibility. For example, Hosmer often talked about how looks weren't that important and that guys should focus more on personal development. But at the same time, he was open about undergoing cosmetic surgery. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting to look your best. But when your whole message is about not being overly concerned with appearances, it kind of sends mixed signals. A lot of followers felt like this was another example of him not practicing what he preached, which only added to the growing discontent. All of this led to a drop in his popularity and even his earnings from YouTube and other ventures, because once you lose that trust in your audience, it's really hard to get it back. Just like the next person, Neon, who is a streamer who's become notorious for pulling some serious messed up stunts just to keep people watching. He has calmed down a little bit as he got older now, but when he was younger, one of the wildest things he did is fake his own death. Yeah, you heard that right. This dude has made it seem like he was in serious danger or even dying just to get attention from his fans. He claimed this on stream, acting all serious and naturally. His fans freaked out. They were genuinely worried about him, thinking something terrible was going down. But surprise, surprise, it was all a stunt. He popped up back later totally fine and said it was a joke. This didn't go over well with a lot of people. His fans felt completely manipulated and the backlash was intense. Folks were furious that he would mess with their emotions like that, especially over something as serious as dying. If that wasn't enough, he pulled off a similar stunt again, faking a robbery where he got roughed up by some masked guys who stole stuff. He even posted a video showing him getting humiliated by these supposed thieves. But just like before, a lot of people started questioning whether the whole thing was staged, given he posted it himself to social media. And given his history of pulling these kind of stunts, fans and critics alike were quick to call him out, saying that this kind of behavior is beyond irresponsible. It's downright cruel. Despite all the drama, Neon's still out there doing his thing, but his reputation has definitely taken a hit. The trust between him and his audience has been seriously damaged, and while he's still pulling in views, a lot of people now see him as more of a troll than a genuine content creator. Finally, we got one of the most notorious scandals involving FaZe Clan with the whole Save the Kids crypto. This whole mess kicked off in mid-2021 and really shook up the gaming and influencer world. The Save the Kids token was marketed as a charity coin with promises that a portion of every transaction will go out to helping children, which kind of sounded noble, right? Well, it turns out that it was far from that. Members of the FaZe Clan, including K, Jarvis, Nikon, and Tico, heavily promoted the token to their millions of followers, most of whom are younger and gullible. They hyped it up on social media, making it seem like a legit, feel-good investment. But almost immediately after the token launch, its value tanked, like went down to almost nothing. The coin's price dropped from 2 cents at launch to a fraction of a cent in just a few days. It didn't take long for people to realize that this was a classic pump and dump scheme. Basically, the influencers hyped the coin, cashed out once the price spiked, and left their fans taking the loss when the value collapsed. This left a lot of people who had trusted these influencers feeling completely betrayed and out of pocket. The FaZe Clan group wanted no part of the smoke, so they fired K and suspended Jarvis, Nikon, and Tico indefinitely. K was one of the main faces of the promotion. He tried to play the victim, claiming that he too had lost money and that someone had manipulated him into participating in the scam. But investigative YouTuber CoffeeZilla wasn't buying it. He dug deep and found out that K had a history of promoting sketchy altcoins, making it hard to believe he was just an innocent pawn in this game. The scandal not only damaged the reputations of those involved, but also served as a wake-up call about the dangers of trusting influencers with financial advice, especially when it comes to something as risky as cryptocurrency.